So, if you haven't had a chance to check out the other video that we did a while back, chatting about the new studio and the listening room, now would be a good time to catch up. So I'll leave a link to that video in the description box down below. After the giant 40-foot shipping containers that we had in the backyard were pulled out, I finalized and signed off for the final dimensions and plans for the new structure. Not long after that, we had a massive slab of concrete poured, and we decided with a smooth shop finish for the concrete. I'm still undecided what I'm gonna do with the finish on the floor and how I'm gonna handle that, and to be honest with you, I am seriously tempted to just seal the concrete and call it a day. Yes, that's going to have some consequences. It's a massive, hard, and reflective surface, but throwing down rugs and rug pads would be an easy way to take care of that. So I'm gonna think that through as we get closer and make all of those kinds of decisions. I might even float the floor. That's gonna be additional expense, but down the road, we'll tackle that. The external room dimensions are exactly what we planned out in the first video, and we're gonna end up with a 30 by 20 foot listening room with massive 12-foot walls. We also decided to do a shallow sloped A-frame roof, which reaches about 14 feet to the very top. As you can see, and it's gonna surprise a lot of you guys, this is not an all-wood structure. I contemplated this decision over and over, and it certainly wasn't easy. The bottom line is that we have a all-steel frame and outer shell, and that is the direction that I decided to go. I understand that both steel and wood have their own advantages and disadvantages, but here in northern Texas, we have insane wind, and yes, there are tornadoes. So in the end, all of these kinds of things played a huge role in going with an all-steel structure. The outer shell of the structure is sheet metal, and when this is completed, we will move on to wood framing, and that is when we need to be very smart about the next steps for soundproof and acoustic treatment, so let's talk about that. So, when it comes to framing all this out, typically we would see 2x4s or 2x6 studs that are butted up against the building, and then we would see, sheet rock that would be coupled to the studs. Now, for 99% of the folks out there, this would be sturdy as heck and it would do the job even more. If we didn't give a rip about acoustics, this would be fine and totally acceptable. But knowing good and well this room's purpose is for music playback, a studio for making videos, and all things related to acoustics, we need to do all that we can to prevent noise from coming in and noise from leaking out. So yeah, we need to think about this very carefully. So the problem with the example that I just gave that would work for 99% of the folks out there, in essence, is coupling. Meaning, if we have a steel shell and a wood frame braced together, what's gonna happen as noise hits the drywall, which is then coupled to the rest of the structure? All that noise and vibrations will simply travel straight through those wood studs and, you guessed, bleed right into the steel structure, and at that point, I'm guessing that probably won't sound very good as I'm trying to critically listen to music. Now, the reason this is happening is wood, and all of those wood studs are actually a fantastic conduit for transferring energy, namely acoustic energy and vibrations. So yeah, what the heck are we gonna do about that? The answer, folks, is decoupling, meaning we have a steel shell and we have a wood frame braced together, and when it comes to adding the drywall or whatever you decide to finish the walls with, the trick is breaking the mechanical connection between that and the frame itself. There are a lot of ways to do this, and some are more effective than others, of course. The best possible scenario would be to actually create a room within a room, but that's gonna be double the wood in the budget, and if you haven't noticed, the price of wood right now, it's not exactly cheap. Now, another method would be to stagger the studs, meaning that we have some 2x6s and 2x4s, which aren't connected to both the frame and the drywall on both sides. Both of these methods are common for home theater rooms and studio builds, and both would work really well. But what we're gonna do with this studio is gonna be another method here, and I'm super anxious to give this a try. What we are going to do is we are going to use what's called resilient sound isolation clips and hat channels. These clips have a rubber damper on them, which soaks up vibrations and acoustic energy transmitted through the walls, and even more. This will surely help us move in the right direction, but it's not the only thing that we're gonna do. Before we go and install all of these clips and channels, we are gonna line all of the walls with what's called mass-loaded vinyl. These are heavy sheets of dense material that soak up sound and also aid in damping the walls as well. While it's a bit of an investment to do the entire studio in mass-loaded vinyl, and the decoupling clips and the channels aren't cheap either, these are the things that are going to make a huge difference of taking what would have been a glorified tractor shed and turning it into a quiet and treated environment for high-fidelity playback. Last, a number of you guys are probably going to ask about insulation, and the reason that I didn't tackle this is I'm still thinking about it and I'm researching it. I am weighing the pros and cons of spray foam, which on one hand is great for thermal, but on the other hand won't compete with batting when it comes to STC ratings and noise control. Now with foam, there is closed cell and open cell foam, and my research is showing that open cell foam is the clear winner of those two when it comes to acoustics, so that might be a valid direction that I can go with, and it is cheaper than the closed cell foam. With closed cell, I could do that, but then I'd probably be best by adding batting into the walls after the closed cell foam, and again, that's just gonna bring the price of everything way up, so I'm thinking this through very carefully. You see lots of decisions here, and I need to think about this a bit before moving forward. Also, knowing good and well that I'm surely going to be adding panels and absorption in the room, I'm trying to decide if having the thermal advantages for the cost of like air conditioning might be a wise move if I decide to do something like the open cell foam in the long run. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments section down below. I'm seriously stuck when it comes to the installation. I can't decide the best route to take. So yeah, that's the update and the plans so far. Things are moving along, and I'll keep you guys in the loop as we get this thing off the ground, and I'll see you crazy knuckleheads in the next video.